Right, and we've had an organized movement by people close to the Purdue campaign to harass me by email and on Twitter and on Facebook and calling this show nonstop, asking why, if I'm such a throw the bums out, why am I a hypocrite in supporting Jack Kingston? Let me give you my answer. Because Jack Kingston may be inside the arena right now, but David Perdue wants to be there too badly. David Perdue has surrounded himself for a number of years with the very insiders he claims he's going to challenge. Some of his best friends are the biggest problems in the Senate. He's gone around the state championing Bob Corker. He's given Bob Corker money. He's gotten money from Bob Corker, if I read the disclosure right. He's been talking about Bill Frist. Bob Corker is one of the senators in Washington who funded the anti-conservative ads in Mississippi, and Perdue's been giving him money. They're big friends. He talks about him all over the place. Bob Corker and David Perdue is friends already with too many of the problem souls in Washington, D.C. And for a guy who claims to be an outsider, he sure is on much better terms with these people than Kingston has ever been.
And see, that's where people like me truly look to people like you, because we can't find that information out.
Well, okay, let me give you my biggest concern with Perdue and why I don't want to support him. Look, Jack's not perfect. Jack's got bad votes in the House. Jack's contributed to growing the size and scope of the government. But every indication I have from David Perdue, despite what he says on the trail and polished statements, indicates to me that he's willing to do the same thing, if not more so, with his friends. Kingston, for example, voted against the stimulus plan. David Perdue was lining up his businesses to profit from the stimulus plan. David Perdue is a big business guy, and here's the problem. It's like these Chamber of Commerce attacks on all these conservatives in Georgia. David Perdue says he's a CEO. He's a Wall Street type. He's a big business type. They think differently from you and me. And if you pick one of them, David Perdue told me back in February there were only a dozen people in the Senate who could understand what he's talking about. He told the Macon Telegraph about a month ago there were only 6 of them apparently now smart enough to relate to him, and they're all the CEOs. They're the Ron Johnsons of the Senate. They're the Bob Corkers of the Senate. They're, I guess, the Jay Rockefellers of the Senate who's retiring. They're all the CEOs in the Senate is what he's talking about. Every one of the CEOs are terrible. In fact, if you look at the Heritage Action for America scorecard, which is the greatest indicator of conservatism in the Senate, the people whose backgrounds are major corporation CEOs are some of the worst Republicans in the Senate. And he's been going around the state campaign and saying he wants to join that club. Those are the worst people on the Republican side in the Senate, and he wants to be with them.